Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture just to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, I was on my way to bed and I was perusing my TikTok, and I came across a couple of my people that I follow on TikTok, um, and they brought attention to an article from NBC News. So I thought I'd go over it. But first, before I go over this article, you all know what to do. It's scrolling down at the bottom. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm working very hard to get to 8,000 subscribers. Please tell a friend. Again, you can tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos, okay? All right, so let's get into this. I don't want to be long. I want to just review the article, but I don't want to be long-winded about it because, you know, your girl can't pontificate. So if you all have or have not been following this story on TikTok, it exploded on TikTok a few months ago, and it has weaseled its way over to YouTube, and it has been literally a split between Black women and Black men. And the split comes in regards to protection or not, and who's worthy of protection when women are harmed. So, what am I talking about? For those of you who don't know, there was a young lady from Houston. Her first name is Ro. Uh, Ro is a TikToker. She does skits and all kinds of different little things. Some of it based around race and women and all these different things. Apparently, she was somewhere at a club or someplace where she was. As what she had explained to us through a video of her being in the hospital, that some guy asked her for her telephone number, and she refused to give that young man the telephone number. And then he proceeded to hit her upside the head with a brick. And she was in the hospital, because, once a trauma like that happens, you know how your adrenaline starts rushing. You get to where you need to go. And she was in the hospital and she was lamenting. She was saying that this man hit her with the brick and there was all of these dudes standing around and no one offered any assistance for her. And then subsequently, over the couple of weeks, there were people that were coming out. There was a guy that came and said that he was there and mentioned because of who she was and the type of woman that she wasn't the type of woman that they believed deserved protection. So therefore, she deserved to get the brick upside her head. We find out later that he wasn't even there. I don't have pictures of him, and I'm not even going to. His girlfriend or the mother of his child kind of called him out on that. Then we had people who were there. They didn't see the brick incident, but they came up afterwards and they talked about some things that were going on. So you had this incident. So then there was an explosion on TikTok about women, and particularly Black women. And because Black women will say, I don't need a man, I want a man. I don't want to have to Black men saying that women should submit to them entirely, telling women, I could do a whole nother video on this other part, but basically it was a back and forth, and women were saying, well, you all claim that you all want us to submit and you want to be leaders, and then when there are times when you need to lead, you don't do it. And then there was this big back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And ultimately, you had the men who were saying that, women lie because they used the Carly Russell incident. And I think there was another incident that they pulled up. They were saying that she was lying and that she deserved to get hit with this brick because, she had a lot of mouth. She wasn't submitting to a man. So therefore, they weren't going to protect her. So what we found out from the men was that unless you are related to them, they're your mother, they're your the woman that they're having sex with or in a relationship with, or if it's someone like that, that they don't have an obligation to do anything. So if they see you being assaulted in the street, if they see you doing anything like that, their first inclination is to walk away. You had women saying, well, now you've said it. You've said the quiet part out loud, that black men are afraid of black men. And then why do you get on to us when we tell you we're afraid of black men? And so then the conversation got on to, well, you could be safe around men. You could be, black men retorted and say, no, 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 you could be safe around black men because, black men can keep you safe and black men can do all these things. The women retort, no, that's not what you're saying. You are saying that unless we meet a certain qualification, we are not owed any protection. And also, because we are getting beat up, assaulted, cussed out over simple things like telephone numbers, us not smiling. We went into there was a litany of things going on, and there were some men that were dumbfounded, like, no, that doesn't happen. That only happens with the Pookies and the Ray Rays. And you have the women from all walks of life saying, no, it doesn't. What we'll ask then, because we know that we can't ask protection from you, because you have stated not only to us, but you have stated to the world that as a collective of black men, you will not protect your women. So that tells me, well, not me, but that told a lot of women that it's going to be open season on black women. And so therefore, there's a level of self-protection that they're talking about doing. And also, then the conversation went with black women saying, well, you know what? We're not safe in relationships and we're not safe outside of relationships. It doesn't matter what we do. We know that there's not a level of safety that we can be guaranteed from our men. So therefore, there are a lot of black women that are online, and I'm talking from the TikTok space, that are saying, how about this? We're just gonna stop fooling with y'all. You've told us and you've told the world that this is not what you are here to do, or nor do you want to do it. Then the conversation came back like, no, 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 wait a minute. Because then it's like, wait a minute. We don't want our women to start looking outside of the community for mates. And then you start seeing women who I have seen and watched their platforms, that are very pro black man, all of a sudden are saying, either I'm not going to deal, I'm just going to do me. I'm going to deal with myself. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to get my stuff. And if I want to take trips, if I want to do something, I'm just going to do me. Or you have women saying, well, you know what? Other communities are saying that they would have no issue or problem with offering us protection when we need it. But so I wanted to say all of that to give an overview of what the vitriol over on the Tickety Tockety app is going on, right? So let's get back to the precipitating incident, which was Roe being hit by a brick. So what was happening is, and I'm telling you, I was proud and angry at the same time. I was proud that they would come together for an issue, but I was angry because the issue that they were coming together on was they were trying their hardest to discredit this woman. And so every time that there was shown something or proof, when I tell you I have never seen so many TikTok lives, I think for a whole week when I opened up TikTok, I had to close it back because everybody was Inspector Gadget, Columbo, Quincy, Miss Marple. Everybody was everything and coming up with all of these fantastical stories. I even saw a creator here on YouTube talking about, well, there was no surveillance footage from the club, so therefore it didn't happen. And we didn't see any. And then, there's this big hang up about, I think a GoFundMe was started for her. And then there was this big hang up of, there was another GoFundMe put up for a woman with a similar name. It wasn't this particular woman. It was another woman with the similar name, because apparently in the Arab Somali community, Ro Rhoda, whatever her, I can't remember what her name is. We'll look it up on this article that I'm about to go over. That is a common name. So then the conversation turned to, oh, see, she's scamming. She's done this before. She's scamming y'all. And then all this vitriol came with, well, she wasn't hurt, because you even had, Lord, you had even doctors, fake doctors, TikTok doctors, not real doctors, saying, oh, well, her face was swollen because she injected saline into her face. If she got hit with a brick, there would have been blood on her face. And, these TikTok medical doctors didn't look at the fact that when she turned her head, this whole section right here, and there was blood coming out of her ear. She had bruising and redness here, but this part of her face was swollen. There's a word for that. Some type of hematoma or whatever. But her face was bruised right here, but right here it was just swollen. And you heard people, your face just doesn't swell like that. Some people were talking about, we talked to the nurse that treated her, and they said that she came in and she was injected with saline. That means she injected herself with saline. That's why her face swelled up, and we couldn't see all of these things. So the young lady was getting a lot of hate and heat, to the point, and complaints that, again, the men got together, and some of the women got together. They got her page banned, so she wasn't able to be on TikTok anymore. She was receiving threats. People were calling people who she knew or whatever, calling her a scammer, a fake. I think she goes to school and she works. People were calling her school. People were calling her job, talking about she was a scammer and she was fake. So there was it had gotten the fever had gotten up so much that she was on her Instagram page. And I think this was maybe like last week or maybe the week before. She was on her Instagram page, and she shows the paperwork where she went to the hospital, where she went to the emergency room, where she has follow-up appointments. She also showed that the proof that she had filed this information with the police. Baby, 2 days later, 7,852 lives on there saying that the hospital information was fake. You had people getting online talking about, we called the hospital and the hospital told us that she wasn't there, and we talked with the nurses and they said that she wasn't there. No hospital, nurse that wants to keep her license, or doctor that wants to keep his license or her license, is going to talk to you about a patient, former, present, or future. So you had all of this stuff like that. So that kind of died down. And everybody was just content the fact that she was a scammer and that she was faking, even though she showed proof that that wasn't the case. They came back out again. She's a scammer. She's a fake. She's this. She's that. And so that was the end of it. And then here, what comes to why we are here today. Let's see. All right. And it says here my audio may have gone out, so the vocal quality of my this live may be a little Let me check it real quick. Testing, testing. Okay. It's saying that we're good. All right. Let's continue. Oh. All right. Let's get this article queued up, right? All right. So this is an article from NBC News. I'm gonna put my glasses on so I can see. You can't see me, but I'm just letting you know that's what I'm doing. It says Brickgate revives an age-old argument between black men and women. A woman's claim of injury from a brick spurs an age-old social media debate between between black women and men. Let me tell y'all something. And this is part of the reason why I wanted to do this. Y'all, the call is coming from inside of our community. When mess like this happens and it gets outside of our community, where we are acting like we do not like, love, and care for each other, it does us more harm than it does us good. There is no pride in this. So let's get back to this article. All right. It says the back and forth between the accusers, detractors, and supporters represents long simmering tensions between black women and black men that now play out on social media. And this is written by Claretta Bellamy and Uwaede Usifo. Okay. They sound like folks that are from the diasporas, but that's fine. So they wrote this on September 18th and published it at 2:50 p.m. So that's today, isn't it not? Or yesterday? That was yesterday because it was today. It's in the middle of the night, y'all. So forgive me. I told you I was on my way to bed. It says in a social media post, a black woman decried a group of black men standing nearby on the street shouting tearfully. The woman, Rhoda Osman, who's known online as Robesh, recounts being attacked by a man who had recently fled. She refused to give the man her phone number, and in the video, she appears to have a large knot on her cheek. Yo, this man just hit me in my face with the brick, and all of these black men just watch, Osman said in the clip, reposted by the Shade Room, which has more than 1 million likes. Dre, they're at it again. Shout out to Dre Mac. While some black women online called out the alleged bystanders' inaction and the decision not to intervene, some black men in turn resurfaced Osman's old social media posts accusing her of a history of inflammatory behavior and untrustworthy character. With the lack of clarity on what went down, some, women and men alike, called Brickgate a hoax, comparing Osman to Carly Russell, a black woman who was charged with 2 misdemeanors in July after apologizing for faking her own kidnapping. In an exclusive interview for the first time since the attack earlier this month, Osman told NBC that she had suffered daily panic attacks and nightmares as a result of the online vitriol. Osman said that there is little she can do to convince people who still do not believe you. First, they're like, where's the police report? You don't have a police report. I show the police report. Then they're like, oh, it's a fake police report, she says. Then they're like, show us the hospital records. You don't have hospital records. I show them the hospital records. It's fake hospital records. The goalposts will never be met. So she's believing that the goalposts will be moved. NBC reviewed a police report filed on September 3rd and hospital records with results from a physical exam. Records indicate her left ear had blood coming out of the canal, and the left side of her face was swollen with bruising and tenderness. Osmond said the police have identified a suspect for the assault, and the investigation is ongoing. I don't know how I'm going to support myself. I don't know how I'm going to graduate on time. I don't know how I'm going to, feel safe again. It's going to take months, maybe years longer in my life to get it back together. Now, one of the things that I talked about earlier was the fact that she had a GoFundMe created for her. She received $40,000 with 1,600 people donating to her GoFundMe. It was reported that she cannot get access to it because she has like I said, there was 1,600 people that donated to her GoFundMe. There were 250,000 people who called GoFundMe to complain that that particular GoFundMe was a hoax. And until she can prove all the information that she has, which she says that she has been in contact with GoFundMe to get all the information that she needs to give to them, she doesn't have access to the funds. Let's continue. Brickgate points to a familiar pattern of backlash hurled at Black women when they publicly denounce harm from Black men. And while it appeared to be an isolated act of violence, the back and forth from detractors and supporters of Osmond represents a long simmering tension between Black women and Black men that now play out on social media. The source of that continued tension, experts say, is an unaddressed anguish from both Black men who deal with rigid views of masculinity and Black women who feel neglected in light of demanding stereotypes pinned to them. Examples of this dynamic are persuasive. Rapper Tory Lanez was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison last month for shooting rapper Meg Thee Stallion in the foot in 2020. Throughout the trial, online agitators repeatedly accused Megan Thee Stallion of lying and wanting to ruin the career of a successful Black man. More than 3 decades ago, similar accusations were hurled at Anita Hill when she accused Clarence Thomas, a then nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, for sexual harassment. And then they go on to quote some tweets. I'll let you read them. Let me see why I can't move like I want to. I'll let you read them right here. This tweeter says, Black men pulling stuff from a Black woman's social media, they claim, shows that she didn't deserve protection when a Black man smashed her face with a brick for not giving him her number. Same thing white supremacists do after cops murder Black people to claim they deserve it. So this particular tweet is comparing the actions of Black men to the actions of white supremacists. And it goes on to talk about the color purple. Talks about the color purple and the subject matter of the color purple, and we won't read that part. It talks about the animosity fed by trauma. It says some Black men are reluctant to acknowledge how their behaviors may play a role in the trauma of Black women, says Mark Anthony Neal, the chair of the Department of African and African American Studies at Duke University. Black women's search for accountability after violence has occurred often and gets misconstrued as attacks on the character of Black men at large. There's a generation of Black women who, particularly in the post-Obama years, have not had the kind of life and professional success that they want, Neal says. And sometimes they see Black women promoted in certain kinds of ways. They're really in their feelings that as Black men, they're being left behind. This disaffected block of Black men may feel less convicted to stand up for Black women, Neal says. I heard somebody else describe this, in another term, but I won't use that here. We're just going to continue to go through this article. Osmond called the reaction to her case, however, displays of black male fragility. And she goes on to say, I'm an independent, strong, educated, successful black woman, she says, that makes a lot of them just infuriated by my existence alone. Okay. Everybody's like, oh, come on, tell me what you did to him. What did you do? Did you taunt him? She says. It's so ironic to me that they're like, I can't believe somebody would do something that violent for no reason, but then you're online being violent for no reason. Interesting. She said they're calling her son's school, harassing her school. They're threatening violence against her child. That's not good. That's not good at all, people. That's not good. That's not good at all. To some Black women, though, silence after a public call out can be disheartening, especially considering the disproportionate rates of domestic violence they face. Talks about 2020 data from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence shows that 45.1% of Black women have experienced intimate partner violence, and that an estimated 51.3% of Black women homicides are related to intimate partner violence. In cases where Black women have been criticized for coming forward, they are treated less as victims and face scrutiny as if they are somehow at fault for the violence done against them. Let's see. We have Brian Ellison, founder of the Black Men Project, an organization that provides group therapy for Black male youth. Shout out to him. Said he believes misunderstanding between Black men and women stems from unresolved past trauma. I can agree with that. If you have not checked out my last video reviewing Kirk Franklin, Father's Day, go check that out. Perfect example of this. I feel that where there's a lot of things get lost in translation, Ellison says, we're trying to compare the pain that we both feel. In reality, we're both hurt. Some Black women's frustrations are rooted in feeling rejected by Black men, according to Diane Stewart, the Samuel Candler Dobbs Professor of Religion and African American Studies at the Emory College of Arts and Sciences. She referred to general observations and data showing that Black men are twice as likely as Black women to marry someone outside of their race. So now they're going into relationship things. Racial stereotypes painting Black women as aggressive and sexually promiscuous also run rampant in American culture and even among Black men themselves, she said. It also runs in Black women because we do have a lot of Black women that are believing that the hypersexuality that they display is okay behavior. Now, I'm qualifying this. I can't speak for the men and I can't speak for the women. All I can say is whatever you put out there, you better be willing to face the consequences of what you do, because you can't control how people react to you. Now, with that saying, I have said it before, because if you check out any of my things that I do, like on Jonathan Majors and things like that, nobody has a right to put their hands on anybody. No one has the right to do any of those things, even when things are represented the way you look, all those different things. No one has a right to do that. Also, I have just a personal belief that even, because I know a lot of things, there are onus on women to act a certain way so that it will not jostle a man. And I have always been under the belief that men should understand that just because you think it, just because you feel it, doesn't mean that you're supposed to act on it. And regardless what you see, doesn't mean that you should go and to pursue it. And I'm being very vague there, and it's intentionally. But for those of you that get it, get it. For those you don't, You need to understand and learn what consent is. It says during the post-slavery era, Black families were founded upon heteronormative patriarchal structures. Stewart says many free Black people went on a desperate search to find their family members who were separated during slavery, a time when Black family units confronted constant disruption. Marriage was used as a way to help strengthen these weakened Black family structures. Yet Stewart said it was a landmark moment when Black people began to internalize and emulate the white Western understanding of patriarchy, which are reflected in the dynamics of Black relationships today. Young boys are socialized to believe that they must be the bigger person and leaders in their relationship with women, says Roderick L. Carey, assistant professor of the Department of Human Development and Family Sciences at the University of Delaware. As girls around them come of age and may express self-empowerment, Black boys may feel conflicted about their roles. You know, I'm supposed to protect you, I'm supposed to defend you, but also I'm noticing that you have a lot of capacity to protect yourself and defend yourself. And then it talks about a path to healing. And it says for Black men, the social media acts as a forum where they can go and air their grievances about women, Richard said. And that is true. I've always been of the belief that Black men in general, need a space that they can talk to each other and uplift each other. And I believe the same way with Black women. Women in general, you need a space where you can go in and you can uplift each other. You can be together, you can uplift each other. So, yes, it does. And I think for the most part, there are several communities and Facebook pages and TikTok lives and stuff like that where they do talk. Well, not in TikTok. I would say more so Facebook page, Facebook spaces like that. On TikTok, there's just a lot of vitriol. And I think it's because of, and I'm not going to even hold you, even with Black women and with Black men, there's a lot of vitriol. And there's a lot of folks coming from outside of the community coming in, believing that they have standing to push the narrative and push more vitriol. But I also believe that has to do with, and particularly on TikTok, is getting the numbers of followers and getting the engagement so that you can get the monetization. That's just point, that's just blank, that's just period. Because I have found in my just being on TikTok, being on social media for the brief time that I've been on here, that the position, the subject matter that makes you more money on these social media apps is the emotional distress of Black folk, male or female. And if you can get the men and the women fighting, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. If you've gone to my TikTok, I always tell them when there's something that goes on, when all of these these viral subjects come up, like y'all have to sit back like I do. Sit back and look to see where it's coming from. Because sometimes these problems that we have within the community is coming from folks outside of the community. You know, I've noticed on TikTok, folks love to entertain these people when they come in with these clickbait type lives or clickbait type posts, and they rile you up. And I keep saying, stop engaging those people, because that's what they're doing. They want you to come and be riled up because you're giving them those clicks, you're giving them those views. And before you know it, they have made their monetization goals and they're going to leave you alone. They're not going to even talk about you. Matter of fact, they'll probably take that whatever video that they put up and they'll delete it and do a sorry video, and then go on and do the stuff that they had initially wanted to do in the first place, but couldn't get the views up couldn't get the views up. And let's see, I don't want to go to, because this is going to get long and our video is already 30 something minutes. I don't want to be any longer. So basically the arguments have happened outside of the house now. I was going to show you, if you didn't know who I was talking about, I wanted to, and I'm not going to. Let's see. This is the young lady. This is the young lady who was talking about. Her name is Ro. These are some of the videos that they have, and there's several different videos that are out about uh, this incident. This is an aftermath because you can see how her face is. The swelling has gone down, but there's still an indentation. Um, this was her in the hospital. There were videos saying that they were confused, that what she experienced wasn't the truth. I don't see it, but these are just a whole slew of videos that's going into something else now. So I'll stop sharing my screen. But what do you all think of this situation? What do y'all think? Are there still some of you that are believing that she's not telling the truth, that this is all a lie? Does this article convince you with the information given that she's not? Because the two people that have written the article have stated in print that they have reviewed her the police report. They've reviewed and talked with whomever they needed to review and talk with about that police report, and also they reviewed the hospital records. And tell me what you all think. I wanted to come on here to share this because I just think it's important that if we can come together like Voltron and get out here to discredit somebody, why can't we do that to further our own agendas within the community? Because you cannot, I know people say, well, we're not a monolith, we don't think, but there are some subjects that we all agree on, regardless of what walk of life that we come from. And I think it's time that a lot of us have these platforms. So a lot of us should have the wherewithal to reinforce as many positive messaging that we can on the issues that we agree about. Okay. All right. That's all I got. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know down in the comment. What do you think? It doesn't matter to me what side of the boat wrote the argument that you're on. I really want to hear your opinion about what's going on. If you believe she's faking, tell me why. If you believe that there are certain types of women that deserve certain types of protection, tell me why. If you don't believe that, also tell me why. Let me know down here in the comments. And we do this every week. I'm telling you, we do. My consistency is on point, y'all. I hope y'all are proud of me. And thank you so much for all the subscribers that have come to subscribe for me. I know I received a good amount of subscribers from those of you all that are subscribed to Chillmonger and Dre Mac. I really do appreciate you all coming over. And please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell that heifer you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.